The Biography of Andrew Jackson by Rick Deal and Cody Jett. Andrew Jackson was the seventh president and served 2 terms from 1829 to 1837. Andrew Jackson was born on the border between North Carolina and South Carolina on March 13, 1767. He had 2 older brothers. His father died in a logging accident a few weeks before he was born, and after the death, his mother raised her 3 sons in South Carolina at the home of one of her sisters. During the American Revolution, Andrew Jackson and his brother was captured by the British. A British officer told him to clean his boots, but he refused. After this occurred, the British officer struck him. By this happening, Jackson greatly hated the British. Before the War of 1812, Jackson put down the Creek Rebellion in Alabama. Following the uprising, Jackson became a commanding general in the military. Jackson fought all the way through the War of 1812. He was furiously known for leading his ragtag army victoriously over the British at the Battle of New Orleans. After his victory in the Battle of New Orleans, he took the nickname as Old Hickory because the people said he was as tough as Old Hickory wood. After the War of 1812, Jackson ran for president in the election of 1824. In his first candidacy for president, he lost to John Quincy Adams. This race is known as the corruptive bargain. The bargain consisted of Henry Clay throwing his support behind Adams. After the election was over and Adams won, he selected Henry Clay to become his Secretary of State. This is why it is known as the corruptive bargain. After Adams won the election in 1824, due to the corruptive bargain, Jackson was furious, and he and his followers planned for the next 4 years to take over in the next election of 1828. Jackson easily won the next election in 1828, defeating Adams in a rematch, and served 2 terms. During his presidency, he faced 3 major issues. The 3 problems Jackson faced was with the Bank of the United States, the Nullification Crisis of 1832, and the Indian Removal Act, also known as the Trail of Tears. Jackson hated the Bank of the United States because he believed it represented a monetary monopoly that benefited a few rich investors, and not the common man. He never rechartered the bank, but he ordered that a new U.S. Treasury building to be built right next door to the White House so that he could keep an eye on it. The second problem was the Nullification Crisis of 1832. South Carolina nullified a tax, and Vice President John C. Calhoun supported it. From the crisis, Jackson replaced Calhoun with Martin Van Buren. The last major problem he had was with the Cherokee Indians. Jackson hated the Indians from the very beginning from previous battles. He ordered that all tribes should be relocated to Oklahoma to Indian Territory. The Cherokees refused and took the state of Georgia to court. The case made it all the way to the Supreme Court. The court ruled in the Cherokees' favor, but since Jackson was president and a part of the executive branch, he still had power to remove the Cherokees to Oklahoma. During this time, after the trial, he sarcastically quoted, "John Marshall made his decision, now let him enforce it." The march of the Cherokee Indians to Oklahoma is known as the Trail of Tears. From this incident, Jackson's opponents called him King Andrew. After his 2 terms of being president, Jackson retired to his plantation, the Hermitage, in Nashville, Tennessee. This video and these pictures of Andrew Jackson are for educational purposes only.